My name is Rudra Amin, and today I am presenting for my capstone research paper on personality development within Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. In slide 1, we're going to talk about the paradox of invisibility. Ellison's narrator opens with the paradox. I am invisible. I understand simply because people refuse to see me. This is not science fiction. His invisibility is social and psychological. My paper argues that authentic identity emerges not from accepting external roles, but from embracing invisibility as a position of insight rather than victimhood. My full paper constructs a four-stage model of personality development drawn from Ellison's own Paris interview, what he calls purpose, passion, and perception. Today, I will walk you through these stages. Though the full paper develops theoretical machinery behind each transition and offers extended analysis of visual art by Romare Bearden and Hale Woodruff. The theoretical framework. Double consciousness and rejection of rejection. To understand Ellison, we begin with W.E.B. Du Bois's concept of double consciousness. As he states, two souls, two thoughts, two unreconciled strivings. The sense of always looking at oneself through the eyes of others. Ellison transforms Du Bois's veil into invisibility, but he refuses victimhood, stating in his interview, I wasn't and am not concerned with injustice, but with art. Authentic personality develops through what I call the rejection of rejection, a conscious embrace of marginality as a source of clarity and responsibility. The full paper develops this concept across Ellison's essays in Shadow and Act and shows how it distinguishes him from both the protest and assimilationist traditions. In Stage 1. Stage 1 is the southern phase, which Ellison calls purpose. The narrator accepts others' goals as his own, admitting, I was looking for myself and asking everyone except myself questions which I, and only I, can answer. The Battle Royale scene, where he fights blindfolded for white spectators, literalizes Du Bois's veil, and the scholarship briefcase becomes the first piece of paper falsely promising that white approval equals freedom. Ellison's point is brutal. Recognition from a blind society is not freedom, but a more sophisticated form of bondage. In Stage 2. Stage 2 is the industrial phase, which Ellison calls passion. Action driven by emotion rather than critical distance. The narrator works at Liberty Paints, which manufactures optic white by adding a single drop of black paint, basically meaning essential black labor being made invisible. When he causes an explosion, he endures electroshock therapy in the factory hospital, where doctors demand recitations about cooperation and ask, who was Buckeye the Rabbit? A folk trickster figure they cannot understand. Ellison explains that folk knowledge represents the Negro's willingness to trust his own experience rather than allow his masters to define these crucial matters. The full paper analyzes Bearden's The Conjure Woman as a visual parallel of operating between worlds without being destroyed. Stage 3. Stage 3 is the Brotherhood, an ideological organization that promises liberation but demands submission. The narrator's flaw, as Ellison states, is his questioning willingness to do what is required of him by others. He follows a tragic pattern: acceptance, success, disillusionment, and betrayal. When he addresses real Harlem concerns, Brother Jack rebukes him for departmentalism, showing that ideology cannot adapt to reality. The riot scene reveals ideology's explosive failure. Hale Woodruff's Amistad murals offer a visual counterpoint. Enslaved Africans seizing a ship, rejecting assigned roles to redefine their humanity. The full paper spends significant time on why Ellison sees ideological organizations as another form of the veil. And the final stage, Stage 4. Stage 4, which Ellison calls perception, begins when the narrator falls through a manhole into a coal cellar beneath Harlem. That fall is not defeat, but liberation. Underground, he wires 1,369 light bulbs and discovers that invisibility, imposed as a burden, can be converted into insight. As he declares, after years of trying to adopt the opinions of others, I finally rebelled. The novel's moral center and the rejection of rejection in action. Withdrawal not from society, but from society's definitions. But here, the full paper makes its most original contribution. This stage is not the end. The novel's famous line, "Who knows but that, on lower frequencies, I speak for you," raises a question many critics answer too quickly. Does the narrator actually re enter society, and on what terms? My paper spent significant time on the epilogue, where I see not resignation, but a carefully argued theory of social responsibility from the margins. Now I want to talk about the artistic resonance. Ellison was not alone in this project. Romare Bearden's collages construct wholeness through fragmentation, double consciousness made visual. Hale Woodruff's murals show black figures seizing destiny, not waiting for permission. Langston Hughes writes, "America never was America to me, and yet I swear this oath, America will be." The same dialectical tension of critique without withdrawal. Amiri Baraka's The Black Art demands poetry that answers to no external standard, and Allen Ginsberg's Howl rejects all quiet desperation. The full paper develops each of these connections in detail, showing how Ellison's model of personality development resonates across mid-century American art. And the final slide, the conclusion. Let me conclude by being clear. My paper does not retell the plot of Invisible Man, but what it does is offer an interpretive lens, a four-stage model of personality development drawn from Ellison's own vocabulary, situated within a broader artistic movement. It argues that Ellison's great contribution is to transform victimhood into agency, not by demanding recognition from the dominant culture, but by redefining recognition itself. The narrator asks, "Who knows but that, on lower frequencies, I speak for you?" My paper asks a different question. What would it mean to take that "you" seriously? Not as a rhetorical flourish, but as an ethical demand. That question, and my attempt to answer it through Ellison, Dubois, and the visual arts, is what awaits you in the full paper. Thank you. I welcome your questions, and I hope you'll read the full argument.